So I just saw The Conjuring 3. The biggest thing that I have to say is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What's up and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today I'm finally talking about the long-awaited sequel to the Conjuring universe of films called The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. The third film in the Conjuring universe tackles the infamous court case dubbed The Devil Made Me Do It, where a young man was arrested for murder, but he pled not guilty by reasons of demonic possession, which sounds absolutely nuts, and that's enough to put him away for life unless Ed and Lorraine Warren can prove the possibility that this might have actually happened. After all, the court has acknowledged the existence of God every time somebody swears to tell the truth, so it's about time that they start acknowledging the existence of the devil as well. I have a love-hate relationship when it comes down to this film franchise as a whole. I can't stop myself from getting really hyped up over every single release, but to be fair, there's only really a select few of them that I consider to actually be good. So I knew going in that there was no telling what I'd think about this one. So what are my general thoughts? Well, the plot alone intrigues the heck out of me. Being a criminal justice major, I always love films that tackle court cases, especially if they're out of the norm. And a case revolving demonic possession is definitely out of the norm. And I found that to be one of the most compelling aspects of this movie. I wish that there was more focus on the court case itself, even if that meant it turned into more of a drama over being a horror film, but as it is, I still enjoyed that aspect. Also, as far as the acting goes from our two returning leads, I actually found that Patrick Wilson did a pretty good job here for once. I notoriously disliked his acting in the past, but this time, it seemed the most down-to-earth and even vulnerable. Both Ed and Lorraine Warren felt human in this movie, and I actually believed that they had this tangible threat ahead of them. Because something happens very early on in the film that I don't want to talk too much about, but it changes the way that they physically approach a case. I did like that, as that also made this film feel different than what we're used to. However, I couldn't help but feel underwhelmed by the film's continued attempts to scare the audience. One word constantly floated in my mind when I watched this movie, and that word was tame. The scares were by the books, and I'd even venture to say they were uninspired. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of the first film because it's so cliche, I still get creeped out when I watch that movie, and I can't say that for this one. This is the first main Conjuring movies to feel like the less successful spin-off films, where you know exactly when those jump scares are gonna happen, and even if the jump scares normally work for you, there's a good chance that they won't work here. The tension buildup is all wrong, as is the character's reaction to those things. And I think I know why. The Conjuring 3 was the first time James Wan wasn't at the forefront here as director, and you can feel it. His presence as a director can turn a bad horror film good, proven by the one scene that he directed in Annabelle. He understands the human mind and how it reacts to those things that go bump in the night. And he translates that really well for the screen. But because he wasn't the director for this third film, it feels incredibly hollow, empty, and unscary. Some may even venture to say boring, or even bad. Yeah, I like the premise of the court case, especially how this was a real case in our history. But practically any time the film attempts and fails to scare its audience, it leaves a bit to be desired. Let's quickly go over my final thoughts here. From an unbiased technical perspective, I do appreciate the way the film looks. There's certain moments of cinematography and editing that I think worked. I almost want to say that the director, Michael Chavez, wanted to imitate some of the things that James Wan repetitively does, like focus on one-shots here and there, which, that's cool. But without that insight into how the human brain reacts to fear, you get empty scares. This score is 68%. My bias score, how I felt about the film in general, not that great. I was unimpressed with the blatantly obvious scares, and I couldn't help but think that the film was consistently tame throughout. I did like the court case, and I wouldn't mind owning this film as part of a trilogy set, but other than that, I find it unnecessary. This scores 40%. And when we average out the two scores together, we come to the final rating of 54%. 54 out of 100 possible stars, or an F letter grade. I can't believe that I gave this an F, but I guess it makes sense. It could have been a whole lot better if only they had James Wan directing. But what about you guys though? Have you seen this third Conjuring film? If so, let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the #1 critic that I go to when I need a movie pick. Thanks for joining up with us. We think